What do we think of Lyra Valkyria?
I like her, but not as champion. It's not the title
Really?
reign's not hitting for me.
Really?
Then again, I rock with Roxanne. But yeah, Lyra's kind of like solid but not spectacular. And maybe I'm spoiled because you go through that lineage of NXT Women's Champions. We not only did we ate, we feasted. We
Yeah.
were eating great.
But you have to give credit where it's due. Um, they needed um and what's the name just literally pointed it out. We'll get back to that in a second, Jacob, because we are on a commercial break. What's the name just pointed out, like, on NXT UK, she got to shine a lot more.
Mm.
So much more. I think that what happened was they were trying to take the best out of UK, and they were so focused on Demand Them that they didn't give the women that much focus. Rhea was it. It was Rhea, and it was Kylie Ray, it was Rhea,
Mm-hmm.
and that was about it. Like, they didn't really give that much of a mental focus, or and of course Aladon. Now they didn't give them that much of a focus, and Lyra was kind of like the last of them, and so was Blair Davenport, which is why Blair Davenport is down at NXT now, and so is Lyra Valkyria. They gave them that focus. So when you think about the people they gave focus, look at where Rhea has been. But they've kind of pulled Rhea and pushed her so far into the stratosphere that you're like, all right, well, we care about her. You gonna have to find a way to make us care about anybody else. And then that's where Lyra's like slow reign to fortuity kind of came in, because when NXT was ending, she was injured. So she didn't get that. She didn't
Mm.
get that last hurrah. The last hurrah you would have saw out of the Ilya Dragunov, or last hurrah we had for Wolfgang and Mark Coffey when they were in UK. They got their proper send off. Pretty Deadly, same thing. Even Josh Briggs, a lot of people got the proper send off.
Mm-hmm.
She was not one of them. So this is to make up for that send off. But a lot of people are also like, we have a Becky Lynch. Why do we need you? But from what I see, she's somebody who can hold a character very well and hold a fighting champion character very well. And what person off the top of your head also held that character that people were invested in?
Wouldn't it be Becky?
Exactly.
Is that not like the easy comparison? It's just
Exactly.
something with Lyra's missing for me. But
What would
I
you
can
say is
see
missing?
the hype, but it's just like
She
I
got to
don't
do
know.
more in UK, and she was appreciated more in UK.
Maybe because I didn't watch a lot of UK, so it's also a lot of unfamiliarity with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be like what you said perfectly, where it's like with Rhea, you could tell they were invested in her. They pushed her. They switched up the gimmick, stuck with her when Charlotte cooled her off, and like you saw the progression with Rhea, and it's like I missed a lot of steps with Lyra. So coming in like a little unexperienced or inexperienced, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like I could see what people will like about it, but there's something missing there. Maybe it's I gotta go back and watch the NXT UK stuff and then be like, oh, so this it's almost like when you see Candice LeRae now, but
Mm-hmm.
then everyone talks about the Candice LeRae that's been in the indies and how vicious and violent and this and that. And it's like,
Right.
so I gotta
And
do my homework on this person, even though I'm not getting this here now.
exactly. What's going on, everybody? Here we are. It's Jesus Christ, it's 2 weeks removed from WrestleMania. I was about to say we're 1 week away removed, but I am tired. Y'all gotta forgive me just a little bit. But what's going on, family? What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite honorary wrestling girl, Seindole B. And of course, you are tuned in to another episode of Watch What Happens NXT. Uh, we took a little hiatus last week because while we were attending Stand Deliver, we ran into a little bit of thing we call exhaustion. Yes, your girl, and it's not like me to ever be exhausted, but I was, yeah. This was the first time I ever pulled off a all weekender, like my like adversaries would say, or even like my friends would say. Like, shout out to those wrestling girls and Brian and Justin and even those the family of the podcast, Jobbers here, and Black Wrestling, and Vaughn, and everybody that if I missed your name, I'm sorry. And also, I give you your flowers because that was the most hectic weekend I think I've ever had in such a long time that I needed a moment. I had to recover, I had to get back to the grind. I had to get back to also attended Stand Deliver, which I'm going to get into. Also attended night one. Also did a watch party on night two. I did so much this weekend. There were so many things I did. I'm not going to ramble them off. We had a amazing, fun Thirsty Thursdays last Thursday on this platform. If you're watching from those wrestling girls, please tune into the past YouTube streams and to the past Twitter streams. I even have a post live stream on my channel, which is Seindole B on YouTube. So you can get into all the hoopla and the cray that happens. But I know another part of me too, like I missed all of you. I missed your wonderful, wonderful, wonderful faces. I miss your enthusiastic faces. Probably a lot of faces I know that are watching the show were also watching, whether you were one of the 16 plus thou that watched with me, whether you were the people who were singing Whoop That Trick with me. So much happened. Like I said, I'm back. As y'all can see, we're back in our natural skin tone. There's no more tiredness looking, but we back. That's what matters. But welcome to another episode. I see the comments already jumping up. Dylan, yes, Siendo Sapiens. I have to get that on a shirt. I gotta get that on a shirt. I'm gonna get that. Shirt ideas. I need a list. I need a Justin in this group to put that on a list. Tiffany McCormick, welcome to the. What's going on, girl? Welcome to the platform. Rakarsha, what's going on? Vaughn, yes, I am still the honorary wrestling girl. I'm still here. I'm alive. I'm breathing. I'm struggling, but I'm breathing. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm excited per usual. Wow. Shout out to the wrestling realm for being in the chat per usual. Shout out to them, the Brethrens. They were out there awesome in Philly. I was excited to see them. Besides Ghost Dwayne, but we're going to talk about that probably when they invite me back on their show in the future. We're going to talk about how I think he's a ghost. Because before, it's funny because shout out to Pablo Don, I thought they were a ghost. Now I feel like Dwayne Allen's the ghost. So now we have to debunk that theory. Scarf, one half of those wrestling girls, Krista B, shout out to you. Welcome. Vaughn, I didn't forget Vaughn. Shout out to Vaughn, also out there. Also, still don't know how you do it. I'm also still exhausted from watching how y'all do it. I can't wait to do it again, though. That's one thing I'm going to get into. I got to get into a lot. Excuse me. I got to get into a lot this weekend. I got to get into how I felt about Stand Deliver. I got to get into how I felt about the fallout for Stand Deliver. I got to get into the fact that we have a new belt in NXT. I got to get into the fact that the first episode of WWE Next Gen has dropped. I gotta get into so much. Like I have to get into so much. So let me just do my little dance, my quick little spew. Shout out to those wrestling girls. If you're watching from those wrestling girls podcast, shout out to Queen PR and Krista B, dropping new episodes weekly, dropping new content weekly. Of course you have sound off sessions with Krista B, Charisma Contreras, and Pablo Don. Of course you have fan club with Queen PR, myself, Mr. Brian H. Waters, and It's Justin Rich every Wednesday, which is tomorrow. And of course, you have this lovely, lovely, lovely show called Watch What Happens NXT, your only NXT pre-show to happen before the night of NXT. I know you guys always stay up late. Shout out to all the other podcasters doing it. I met some of you guys out in Philly. Shout out to everybody who does a show after because I'm in bed. I'm gonna be really honest with you. I go to sleep. And I like to watch NXT twice. That's probably why the pre-show thing probably came into fruition. Because I don't know how you guys are doing it right after, but it is entertaining. Shout out to everybody doing the do. I'm always retweeting them on my Twitter, so to show them some love, make sure you're tuning into those. Before we get started, real quick, I will not go without saying thank you to everybody who made my weekend as easy going as it could for me. I definitely want to shout out people that were hanging in with me. Besides those wrestling girls and meeting everybody at Cheeky Pete's. If you were at Cheeky Pete's, I got to finally meet the people from the Ringer of Wrestling show. Shout out to Kaz, Shoemaker, Ben, Cal, who I already know, part of Black Wrestling, and of course Brian. Shout out to Black Wrestling. Shout out to Mimi, Fam. I got to meet Dapper. I got to reconnect with Fam and everybody who's that extended family. So shout out to them because they made the weekend as entertaining and as fun for me as well. Shout out to everybody. I finally got to hook up with Josh, past guest on the show. Shout out to him and shout out to Cornell because Cornell and for him making my entry to WWE World the most non-confusing as it possibly could be. Also connecting with him was great. I don't have the pictures or the audio to talk about it, but I'm happy I got to connect with everybody. I did see Patrick. I see Patrick in the chat. Hey Patrick, I'm so happy I got to bump into you a little bit that past weekend. I also shout out to Vaughn who hung out with us for a little bit. Just shout out to everybody that was being on good vibes. I got to meet and link with so many people that I interact with on my social medias. Some people, like I said, pictures aren't there. I got to say hi. I got to give my hugs. Hopefully next time we can run it again. But it was a good weekend overall. I had fun, but like I said, I was exhausted. Like your girl didn't even stay for Monday Raw. I didn't stay for Raw. I went home. I got to bed. But it's okay because I have enough memories and stuff to go last. Shout out to Queen Letty is in the building. I don't have her title in front of me, but she's also a member of TWG. I don't care how she slices her dice. She's always been a member of TWG in my opinion, but that's just me. That's just how I do it. But shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody who's still tuning in. We're gonna dive right into it real quick. I'm gonna run a quick pre-show clip from shout out to It's Just a Rich, sorry. And we're gonna get into what I always get into when I come on the show, and that is some good old backstage business.
This whole thing is bigger than like a boxing match meetup at this point. Like for it to take over this weekend and for somebody like Randy Orton to call it the biggest main event pre-show of WrestleMania weekend. He basically called it the best pre-show of WrestleMania weekend. To the point where there is no pre-show. It's just stand deliver. Which is what should be happening.
I'm trying to think, what's the last time NXT had a major main event angle? And I think it's TakeOver New York. Cole and Gargano 2 out of 3 falls.
Right.
But I think it's more the match, and especially that third fucking bro. To be there live for that third fall when Barclays was beyond unglued. But I don't know if the build was as good as this.
For them to literally have a full-on ESPN preview documentary about the both of them, it's a huge fucking deal. It's a big fucking deal.
It's giving Sasha and Bailey vibes.
Because, and this is how you want to wrap up the 2.0 era. Like, you literally, these two have been, he's wearing a Chalkline WrestleMania jacket. Oh, it's about to be sold out.
It's giving Sasha and Bailey vibes, but even with Sasha and Bailey, it was after the fact. It was the Iron Man match, and then after when they were both on the main roster, and we went back because everyone was like, we go back and watch this match.
Mm-hmm.
This may be the biggest build to an NXT main event, period.
So I'm going to go ahead and just dive into my experience with Stand Deliver. Your girl was unglued. Listen, I felt like I was in the PC center myself. Not gonna lie. Again, shout out to Pablo Don, who was ride or die with me in the NXT watching the show. We had a blast. A lot of things that happened that I didn't expect to happen, but I'm glad they happened. On the show, I just think that overall production wise, NXT doesn't get a lot of credit where it's due. I feel like if we're going to be fully transparent here, there should have been more drive for the brand, with the brand on that show. And I felt like it wasn't even a matter of we're missing the mark. The people that are performers on NXT production, everything down from the lights, the package, to how they unveiled their big news, they did a phenomenal job. I feel like though, so for example, I have the WW. I went out and I bought this. That's one of the main reasons why I left the shout out to Superstore, because they had this on deck just in case you wanted to get some autographs. I only got one autograph in here, and it's kind of embarrassing, so I ain't going to show you that one autograph. It's for me and me only. I have this that I bought, and I was expecting like it's really well put together book. Shout out to Sir Wilkins, because I saw Sir Wilkins have the WrestleMania 39 one from LA, and he had it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna make it my mark to definitely go and get me one of these. You see how nice that graphic is, and it's a lot of information. I love it. I love how they literally have their advertisements. There's nothing wrong with that. Hey Miz, new WWE Tag Team Champ. Go ahead, guy. They advertise in the Superstore where it is. I felt like that wasn't really, I mean, that was needed, but if you're selling the book in the Superstore, I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Like, why would I need to know where it is, right? But then what I love about it is, y'all know I'm a big girl. I'm a big fan of a good build-up. Love me a good build-up. Don't give me 3 months. Give me a whole year worth of storyline to follow. So they had that. I love that aspect of the book. And it was just like a whole bunch of other stuff. Like if you flip it, of course, there's the Hall of Fame class. Shout out to them. And a whole bunch of other things that happen every single, let me flip that back. Every single WrestleMania that's happened, that so you can remember it. And it's good to have. But what I felt like is, I'm gonna be biased because I feel like who really needs to know all of this? Like who needs to know how to download, Fanatic Live? I don't need to know that. I don't think anybody really cares for that. Unfortunately, that sounds disrespectful, but it's also the truth. I also don't need to know that there's now a belt for MLB. Like I understand MLB is hot right now. I understand the baseball league is hot. I think that having a Hall of Fame class is really cool. Like legacy classes, they had everybody from a legacy class down in the book, and I felt like that was needed. That's fine. There's no remnants of NXT anywhere in this book, like none. If in this and let's be real about NXT real quick. It's a great book, like I said, but let's be real about NXT real quick. NXT for Stand and Deliver, I'm gonna get my little notes here. NXT for Stand and Deliver did over 16,000 in tickets, which is their highest NXT sales ticket to date, which means they basically halfway filled out the arena. You have it's basically, if you guys didn't notice, there was no pre-show because there was that, like they've hyped up Trick versus Mello so much. You had WWE stars speak on it, like I spoke with Justin on it before Stand and Deliver. You literally had like people like Booker T and CM Punk and Randy Orton and Big E and people like hype up the match. That was your main event match of a pre-show. NXT, everybody delivered. The women's tag team match delivered. The women's championship match really delivered for me. That was one of the most exciting matches of the night. Even the Ilya Dragunov versus Tony D, I did not agree with the results. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a stack. We tell the truth up in here. I didn't 100% agree with the results of that specific match, solely because I felt like I don't know what they're trying to do with the Don. I don't know what they're trying to do with Tony D'Angelo. I don't know what the purpose of the family is, or your face, or your heel. You're trying to put me in a tweener section. I don't want to be in a tweener section with Tony D. He's the Don. Like, probably I even said, you're supposed to cheat. Like if you even look at this, right? Look at how this picture is hyped up to be. Like, this is how you set up your main event guy. This is how you promote your guys to the next level, right? I felt like they dropped the ball, and not like people who love NXT gonna go to NXT. That's without a shadow of a doubt, right? But when you're trying to hype up somebody like this, like somebody like Trick Williams, who is gonna carry the generations to come, next generation, might be the guy that gets drafted soon, might get drafted sooner than we think. I don't know. But when you have somebody like him and you're trying to make your product as hot as the other two brands that you have, why is it not in the book? Why aren't you selling the merch in the Superstore? Why don't I have some Trick Williams ice cream bars? Like, come on, like what are we doing? Like, and in hindsight, it was a gift and a curse, because then people were like, oh, there's NXT happening. It wasn't as crowded with a lot of people. It was left to the people that really love NXT being there, people who know people that are on the brand, and also people who are from overseas who don't have an NXT, who want to see it live, and were there. That's where those 16,000 seats came from. A lot of press was in the building. I was happy to see that. There was people that popped up out of nowhere, which I'm excited. Yes. Matt are talking about it, and one thing that I loved that me and Pablo talked about while we were at the show, and they agreed that WWE has gotten 20 times better with killing their own rumors. Because Juliana was supposed to have been popped up in WWE, AEW, TNA, back in Stardom, not in Stardom, taking a break from Stardom. We don't know if she's starting WWE. So for her to show up with a Hall of Famer and William Regal and Hall of Famer sitting right next to her, first of all, and I don't think she expected the pop. I don't know whether she was generally surprised whether they would show her face or whether people would react the way they're reacting. But that's a rumor that's literally been sitting on everyone's like knees for a minute, and I was happy to see her. Like I was coming back from the bathroom. Also, shout out to the Wells Fargo Center. That's a bomb pizza. Like, you understand, like, me and homie, listen, I'm fat afternoon and had to rush down to Wells Fargo Center because the night before we did it for the culture, because I wasn't missing for the culture. Ever. Shout out to people at GCW for holding that down. I wasn't missing that. So when I tell you I had to rush to the Wells Fargo Center to make sure I at least caught the Wolf Dogs do their thing, that watched them win. By the time we got in there, they had already won. Things was good. Got me my slice of pizza and my water, which was bomb. And then there was just like a good ambiance of matches. Like you had, like I said, the tag match. You had Metaphor, who did an amazing job hosting Stand Deliver this week. They gave the same energy. Like Pretty Deadly gave really good energy last year, I felt. So I felt like they followed up greatly, especially with Noam Dar not having the Heritage Cup. Of course, no Heritage Cup defended at the event, but it was just a lot of octane. Like I liked the segment where they wore Cowboys fan clothing in Philly, and I know how Eagles feel about them Cowboys. So we're not even going to divulge this. That's not what this show's here for. But it was just a lot, and I think to show her definitely set the tone for like, listen, we're moving on. Like this is we got a new show. We got a show that just came out that same WrestleMania weekend in WWE Next Gen. We got Julia here. We have, and I was excited to also see Javon Evans get a package and he's like the youngest star they have. He's 19. I think the second youngest one right now is Thea Hale, and then so on and so forth. So it was just really, really an exciting show. I had, like I said, the only down was that, like, why is it not in the book? You need to put it in the book, WWE. Put it in the program, because it's a part of the program. Come on. Somebody get it together. My favorite match of the night, besides being the Trick versus Miller, which I'm happy there's a part 2, and it's going to be tonight in the Steel Cage. I'm happy about that. Dig that, love that, know that I love that. The women's match really delivered. I did not expect to find myself actually happy that Roxanne Perez got her Goldie back. She got her belt back. She definitely put me in, shut me and Pablo up, because we told her like she needs to change her moveset, and now it's a pop rock into a crossface. I love that. Keep doing that, because if that's how you win in your matches, girl, like messing up people's faces, just keep doing it. Nothing wrong with that. Mess up a face here and there. Punk said punch your co-workers in the face. And here I am provoking some type of violence. I shouldn't even be doing that. But yeah, Punk said punch your co-workers in the face. You a heel. You supposed to be punching people. Yeah, shout out to Letty in the building as per usual. There was a lot to. I had a wonderful time. Another thing that's another thing that put out to me, like, if Metaphor could really like run the main roster, I feel like even if it were to be them on the main roster and then Lash Legend goes back, I feel like she deserves the title. I feel like if you're gonna be handing out goldies to everybody, give one to Lash Legend. She's definitely next up in my book. She definitely deserves it. Like, I call it the shorty run because a lot of the shorties been winning the belts. Like, if you look at Rock, then if you look at Mandy, then Rock, then they took a break with Indy, then they then they had Tiff, then they had Lyra. It's a battle of the shorties. It's winning these belts, and you need a Lash Legend in your life. You need her. She was looking fabulous at Raw and Mania, by the way. Just gonna throw that out there. You need a balance, a shift in balance. Now, I'm not saying that you should leave her behind at NXT. What I'm saying is, give her more of a chance. She's definitely been holding down doing next NXT Level Up with Jakara because they've been tag teaming a lot here and there. But other than that, I feel like definitely like, give them a chance. Like, what are we doing? Just give them a chance. But that's my takeaway from Stand and Deliver. If you have not been on my social media, please tap into my social media. I did do like a quick video. I do a quick review on Stand and Deliver. But oh no, I had a blast. It was a great pre-show. I expected, like I said, the only issue I really had, the only thing that like really was another good match was actually the Dijak, Obafemi and Josh Briggs triple threat. That was a good match. That was a great match. I'm sad to hear that Josh Briggs is injured right now, but that match set the tone. Like, that was a really good match. I ain't talking about that, Jace. I'm probably not going to talk about the Joe Gacy and ambushed by Ridge Holland because I feel like there's more to it. We'll finally find out what happens tonight, probably. I feel like there's a lot more to it. I don't want to dive too much into it as of yet, but we're gonna continue and we're gonna go on to my favorite segment of the week, and that is going on to some backstage business. Now, the biggest backstage business to take away from is this. You had, of course, the girlies, Lonnie Jordan and Fallon Henley getting their honorary Chase degrees because they helped Thea Hale defeat the new Mean Girls Club, which is Kiana James, JCJ, and Izzy Dame at Stand Deliver. So he went ahead and he delivered that to them, and I thought that was really cute. Even though, like, if we're gonna point out, like, Kalani was like kind of part of Chase U. She was in the stands, but that's what they do with the developmental people. They put them in the stands, but that's no here or there. We don't care. Still getting degrees, still pretty awesome. And then you had, like I said, y'all love me. I love me a good build up. Yeah, I love me a good build up because they brought it back to Miss JCJ. Being back to her mean girl self, but not to say she didn't lose her integrity though. I will say that. Kudos that to her because she told us what I've been saying. We all been wondering what Mr. Andrew Chase been doing with the money, why he had to lose money, why we had to sell the calendars in the first place. Why we here, Andre, what you do? And she finally put it up there. And I think they did a great job. This is what I'm talking about. Like, give me longevity, give me like end game, give me everything you got to wrap up the story or build from the story, which is why I'm happy I didn't do a quick Stand Deliver full show because I wanted to see the real fallout. And JC basically reveals that we're talking about even way back at the Great American Bash when Thea had her big match with Tiffany Stratton and Andrew Chase threw in that towel and ended the match for her because he thought she was gonna get hurt. She was gonna like break her arm or get hurt or whatever. She couldn't take it. JC reveals that the reason why the school lost money in the first place because Andrew Chase had put money on Thea to win. And because he felt so bad for her, he literally threw in the towel. He lost the money he bet with the family because now we know like the family's gambling. Obviously, they're doing what they're supposed to do. He's Don, they're the family. You're supposed to be collecting money. He lost money basically trying to save Thea from further embarrassment and losing that match, but she lost anyway, and she went to her whole brat tantrum, sorry, and that's what caused her to kind of rebel and hook up with JC and kind of like hate Andrew for it, and he didn't. And what I don't get is why you ain't just say that from the start, Andre. Like, why you ain't just say it had to do with you and pull it to the side and have a private conversation? Why are we airing out private, like, conversations? Why are we airing out conversations in the classroom? Not a whole class, though. The whole university gonna know. I don't know if they even going to attend because now they know. But, and that's another thing, too. We don't know. Because Thea was upset to hear that everything was her fault. I don't think she necessarily was upset to hear that he was betting money on her or using her to place more money in the school. That just shows you don't know how to handle money, Andre, on your part. And secondly, this kind of shows that he cares about his students, because who else would he do it for? Would he do it for Duke? Would he do it for Riley? Like, who's to say who else he would do this for, right? I feel like JC's just like, listen, you want to hurt my feelings and turn your back on me? I'm gonna give you a taste of what it feels like to be stabbed in the back, and basically told all the business. So I'm interested in seeing where this goes, because I need to like Chase U. I feel like Andrew Chase is gonna be one of those ones that get drafted. That's my thought. Like, I feel like he's about to go to main roster. I don't know how long he can stay in NXT because he's also a part of the 2.0 class. I don't know how long it's going to take for him to stick around. So with that being said, I don't know if this is a way out. I don't know if they're going to dissolve Chase U. I don't know what they're about to do. I just don't know. Don't ask me. We all lost in the sauce together, you guys. And that's just the real tea. I need to know everybody's thoughts on that, because it was an interesting way. That's when I tell you guys I'm such a big fan of continuity. I'm going to get into that in a second, Nick, Dylan, because literally that's my question too. Like, where's Ren Sinclair? Because homegirl, I'm tired of her taking advice from freaking, what's this girl's name? Ariana Grace. I'm tired of her taking no. We don't need you trying to be a pageant queen either, sis. I don't need that out of you. I just don't. I'm sorry. That's just me. I don't need it out of you. What I do need more of, though, is this young man. And that is Mr. Javon Evans, y'all. Yo, this kid has impressed me. Shout out to him. I didn't want to bother him. He was actually at For the Culture. I didn't want to bother him. I know a lot of people met him, said he was really nice. Super proud of him. He finally had, like I said, at Stand Deliver, they gave him his own solo package. They debuted in between commercials. And he just seems like such a natural, like, he seems like just a natural person. Like, he was just excited. Like, he walked up on the screen, he was like, oh, that gay boy on Spotlight, like in that deep Southern accent. Like, it's gonna go really far for him. He's definitely gonna give like don't count me out type energy for the brand. And that's what he did, because he actually had a really good match with one of my other favorite NXT talents, and it happens to be Scripps. Like, listen, I tell everybody every week, you're not going to count Scripps out. We're not doing that. We're not doing that ever. You're not going to count him out. They had a really good matchup. I was happy. Yes, I was happy to see him. He's young, 19, about to turn 20. I don't know how I feel about that. Wait a minute. They might be onto something, Nicholas. Javon Evans is like the evolution of Ricochet. He's going to be the first. Yes. I think that there's a lot of similarity. I can even say, like, look at how like Scripps is. That's his dance partner. Like, for Scripps to be his first dance partner, I can honestly say that I was happy. I was happy that they chose him to be the first dance partner. I'm happy that possibly we might be getting a story with Out the Mud and Javon Evans in the mix. Like, display the new talent more. Like, give us new. Like, you're trying to draft. We need to draft these 2.0 people out. give me more, like give me more people. And that's what they're doing. That's what shows like this and Level Up are about. It was good to see Out the Mud twice, even if it was just Scripps and Jada Parker, which her match I'm gonna get into in a second because I have some critiques on it. It was good to see them do a match. It was great. It was great overall. I had no complaints. The match was amazing. I know I have a few more pictures here. Let's see, y'all. Oh, this is my favorite shot of like the entire night. Like, can't go wrong with that. This is my favorite shot of the whole night. Like, I literally, and I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy watching the high flyers. That's just me. That's just my favorite. They are there to do what they do best, and that's to wow the crowd. And that's exactly what he's about to do. That's why people like Carmelo Hayes when he first started. People like Scripps when they first started. People like Ricochet when he first started. Listen, you can call them the flip people all you want, but to me, they wow me. That's what they supposed to do. That's their job. That's why they get the paycheck they get. So they doing what they're doing. I'm very happy for him. He's very young. He went through. He already has dealt with his like I want to say type of backlash this weekend, but this is my show. I can curse. Fuck him. Like, let's be real. To hell with anybody who thinks that this kid is less than anything, and call him anything derogatory. That you're just miserable at this point. Like, he's doing his thing, and I'm glad. Like, even the things he got to kept, like that boy bouncy stuff, and oh my god, like he used to say that a lot when he was on the indie. So I'm glad they're letting him keep him. It's just a change. Changing the name ain't nothing but style. That's what we're gonna call it. They changing the name ain't got to do nothing with the style. And I'm glad they kept that. Siobhan is like Osprey. He doesn't do the flip shit pops. He does it. So yeah, pretty much. I mean, even Will Ospreay, you got to give Will Ospreay his flowers because it's all the energy. It's all the energy to do. Once you love what you're doing, you're gonna have the energy to do it, no matter how flippy you look or anything like that. Like his personality is gonna take him very far, and I feel like him being young could take him a long way. And it's like I always used to worry about NXT talent the younger they start because it seems like the younger they start, the more complications they have, but they also have a great chance of doing more the younger they are. Like, listen, he's only had about 5. He only been in a couple of house shows. He's only had about 5 level up appearances. And look at him now, already on the NXT route. So they're like, listen, if we're gonna push somebody that's worth the watch, let's push him. So great shout out to him. Yeah, he definitely did a good job escaping out the mud. Being, although, like I said, I don't know how well that's gonna bold out. I do not know. I do not know why. Because he's just like Scripps, but younger. I'm sorry. And I don't want to bring it up that way, but he really is. Like, he's just like Scripps, but that younger. So they might take him under the wing. They might beat him till he's bone and dry. I mean, he might end up being your future North American Championship because, listen, if Carmelo Hayes can do it, so can he. We're going to get into North American Championship real quick. And yeah, his age is a benefit. Like, if we're going to talk about longevity, his age is a really big benefit of that because, listen, the earlier you do things, the better off you'll be. And that's just, it is what it is. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Slice it and dice it. How you put it is how I would have put it. Nick, it's going to benefit him in the long run, but I'm excited to see more from him. Speaking of excited to see more, the boat, as they call her, I don't know how I feel about calling her a boat. She's definitely the best of all time. She's the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Miss Natalia Neidhart said that she's pulling a Becky. She's never had the NXT championship. So she went down to NXT and she said, you want to talk all this qualm and come on Raw and spit your game, and said that you better than me, best me, sis. Like, let me come down to your house and try and best you. And exactly what she did. Big shout out to this young lady right here, Roxanne Perez, got to do a full circle moment on the Raw brand by going up against Indy Hartwell, and she went up against Indy Hartwell as the NXT Women's Champion the night after WrestleMania. I was very happy for her in that sense. In this episode, this match was really good. this is one of my favorite matches of the NXT post show that night. I was happy to see Natalya mix it up with another young talent down at NXT, which went down the last time she was a heel. She went up against Cora Jade, and she even though at that time gave Cora Jade her flowers because Cora Jade really did a good job besting her in the ring. And I like that Natalya's going up against people that at one point were fans of hers. However, like I said, this is a different Roxanne Perez. You're not going to get the Roxanne Perez. It's like, oh, I'm so excited that I'm going up against my idol. This is a dream come true. No, she's not doing none of that. No, absolutely not. She literally was like, I'm gonna whoop your ass the way that I whooped Lyra's ass, and I'm gonna prove to you that I don't have no more role models. I have no more role models. But it was a good match. There was a lot of submission work in this match. It was a lot of, I don't know if Natalya could do it in this match. It was a whole lot of the wow factor in it though for me was Little Missy that actually screwed Little Missy that screwed what's her name's chance of being the champion showing up. That to me was hilarious. Lola Vice did return. She returned and basically said, like, listen, Natalya, you mess with me, I mess with you. And that's gonna also have some longevity to it. Even them hopefully having Natalya mentor Miss Carmen Petrovich, who is Canadian. I didn't need them to do that. I hate when they do that. I'm being really honest with you. It burned my heart that they wouldn't just let her be Petrovich. Listen, you're the Queen of Swords. I didn't need to know you were from Canada. Let's be real about that. But again, I hope that Canadian connection does something. I'm waiting to see what it does. This comment right here, Natty could be drafted to SmackDown as what? That's the question. Like, for what? I don't want people to think, and we're going to get into that because some other people showed up from the main roster, and I'm going to tell you what my theory is them doing this with the main roster is. A lot of people were showing up from the main roster this going home show. I'm going to tell you guys the good and the bad thing. Yeah, that's what I want from the draft. I want more of that. You need free agents. Like, let them float around. I think that's what they're doing. I think they're letting everybody from each brand go to NXT and float around the same way they've always let people from NXT go to a Raw or the Raw, because I know the Raw does the main event. Have them go to main event in their home city and put on a show. I like that idea. I like when WWE does that because that shows you're just trying to give a preview to who's next. Even though it's a televised show that's not on until later, and we're a main event doing that. I'm happy that they're doing that. I think they need to do a lot more of it. Let's be real. Put more NXT superstars on your main shows and give them a sprinkle. I like when they did it when they were doing like when Carmelo Hayes was champion, and because Seth Rollins had went down and kind of got assistance from him against Braun Breaker, he got to go up the next day and go to Raw, him and Trick Williams, and Trick Williams appeared on a Raw after he had won the North American Championship. I thought that was awesome. I thought that, literally float them around. Like, enough of this brand shit. I'm sorry. Like, the brand split does not work. Schedule wise, yes, for the athletes it works. I don't see the point. Like, have people sprinkle here and there. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, they literally saw the pop between Trick Williams at that SmackDown, and they were like, oh, okay, now we know what we're gonna do. They saw the excitement with Carmelo Hayes. They saw the excitement like with Braun Breaker already being between two brands. It's worked out. I just need more. Like, give me more. Speaking of giving me more, give me more of this because I need to find out what's going on here. So Roxanne Perez did appear and say, I told you guys I'm gonna get my bill back. And Lyra was basically saying like, hey, you need to, I want to rematch. I'm injured, but when I'm done, I'm coming back. And Homegirl showed up Tatum, and I hate. I'm sorry, Tatum. If I don't know if anybody saw my Twitter, I was like, bro, you're like, you didn't exactly do what you were supposed to do, because your whole point of you coming into the match was to help homegirl win and cheat, and all you did was get injured. Because I was just like, girl, what was the point of you doing that? Like, oh, why you here? Why you here? Girl, why'd you came to the party, you came to the party with no alcohol, but like you showed up to the mixer with no bottle. Like, why? Like, why are you? And I gave her such crap, and I feel bad, but it all in all was like, yeah, because I felt like I knew it was coming, especially if you watch when we saw her snap, when we saw Lyra snap at her, we were all like, damn, like, girl, you ain't have to snap. You ain't have to snap on old girl like that. And in return, like, what you got? Bam, you got ran into a wall. Like, Lyra was trying to tell her, like, listen, sis, I got it. I can take care of it. And what's her name was like, do you though? And then just ran her into on some Mickey James shit. She done attacked that girl and hurt her even more, which is genius in my opinion. It's genius. To me, this is where the storyline needs to continue. Lyra, thank you. You were a good champion to me. Listen, 164 days as champion is not that bad. You entertained me. I was happy for you. I liked you. You're a good fighting champion. But in order for the fans to see more of you the way that I like to see more of you, you need to be getting your lick back from old girl, because she stepped in your business and didn't really help you get the belt, but also didn't kind of didn't cause it for you, like cost you the match or anything. But after that whole incident, get your lick back, because girl, you gonna let somebody best you. And yes, that was the best part too. Roxanne laughed at the whole damn thing, because Roxanne was like she was like that crazy witch in that dance, the idiot. And this was cool because that was the first time too. I think the women's NXT Women's Championship hadn't been defended at Stand and Deliver since NXT Takeover. I believe it was NXT Takeover New Orleans. They hadn't had a match since then, and that was one of the first times they actually like had the brand have a one-on-one match for the women's championship match, and both ladies did an amazing job. But yeah, Roxanne, that's the type of heel I need her to be. I need to be laughing at other people's pain, because other than that, I don't need you to do anything else. Like, I'm tired of hearing that you never got the chance, the belt, you never lost it in the first place. We still seen you whoop Indy Hartwell. You beat Indy Hartwell, honey. Like, don't tell me that story no more. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that grass is green after a couple of months. I don't want to hear it no more. Just have the belt and be a heel. That's all I need you to do. Let's see. Booker T is gonna be a heel. He's the heel commentator. I think he just has a soft spot for Roxanne. Like, he's always said he's never gonna go against his students. So that's probably why people get confused. He likes who he likes. He's a big fan of Braun Breaker. He said that. I'm gonna be interested in seeing how he turns on a lot of the faces, because that's where it's going. He needs to get back to that. If not, you just call Wade Barrett and tell him to come back. Like, call him, because Wade Barrett did a good job. And it was good to see Wade Barrett and Braun Breaker help Vic do his thing on the Stand and Deliver panel. It was a good job. It was a good commentary team. All in all, it was good. Switching gears real quick, gonna talk about the North American Championship, and also going to dive into how I feel about the news now that there's not one just North American Championship belt, there is two. Because at Stand Deliver, another thing that excited me was that Ava talks about they're finally going to introduce another belt, which is the new Women's North American Championship. Listen, so many ladies that deserve to have that belt on the brand. But real quick, I'm gonna talk about my favorite guy in the whole world. It was so exciting to see him perform at Stand Deliver, guys. Gonna dive in and talk about Omar Femi in a little bit. Before I do that, real quick, we're gonna have some thoughts about the North American Championship. So, BRB.
I hate that talk that North American Championship is like a basic championship. That's like that's
But
so out of the win for me.
You know what? You just proved the point. Dominic Mysterio is the best heel in wrestling right now. He was the North American champion who gets booed. He got booed at his own wedding, right? So it's like it's all the thing. It's like, so how can you call that title? How can you call that title just like basically like nothing in a sense, right? Where it's a consolation prize when the best heel in the business, and that's just not just WWE, that the best heel in the business, in the wrestling sport, in the wrestling business, had the title for X amount of time, and he did a duel, right? He brought it to Raw, brought it to SmackDown, right, and NXT, but also circle back to your point where representation and Black athletes within the NXT getting the North American title. Honestly, I think that's incredible because you know what? Again, not everybody can be the champion, right? And there's only X amount of opportunities, only X amount of belts. So it's like the fact that we're seeing a lot more African American men get opportunities to be a title holder, to see how it looks on them, to see how a run with them would look, and a lot of them has successfully converted to main champions. Keith Lee had both of the titles. I was there. Like I filmed the match. Like it's one of those things where to me honestly, everybody that was at Full Sail when we take that night felt that energy in the room when you saw Keith Lee, and then you saw that man hold up both of them titles, and you realize nobody's ever done that before.
Right. It's just like the moment. Like and I get people want more. Like more is coming. Like I remember watching, like I said, Carmelo Hayes. I remember watching him win the North American Championship, and then I'm at home, as bright as day, watching Stand Deliver, and boom, he's main eventing, wins the belt, and has like the most respectable handshake, and he's literally that is pride. Like that. Listen, that's history in the making. So I wouldn't, even if it takes that belt to make it happen, I'm gonna watch it happen. I don't care what anyone says. Like even like for a second, like Oba being somebody who was that short term in WWE, even though we know he wasn't really short term, but for him to have his heritage behind him, using the fact that he's the Nigerian ruler and all that gimmick stuff. Listen, we feed off of that shit. I make a joke and it's funny. I tweeted, my father was watching me watch it because I was like downstairs watching it with the family, and he was like, "Who is this guy? He's big." And I said, "His name is Oba Femi," and he's like, "He's African?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Dad, it's Oba Femi is a Nigerian name." He goes, "Oh," and I watched my dad slowly walk past me and sit right on the couch with me. And as we're watching the match and he won his rematch, my dad goes, "Damn right, who was beating him?" and gets up and leaves. Like for that to happen, that means something too.
So as we dive into that, shout out to Mr. Cornell Gunther in the building. We need to talk about this. Has had to be the most exciting thing to happen on the show. So he came out to dress everybody. I feel like Oba has kind of washed everyone in the North who's been looking for the North American Championship. I feel like he's kind of like literally like wash everybody. And I don't have a problem with it because look at him, look at his stature, look at how he defended that belt. Took out two of the best on the brand. Dijak will never lose respect from me ever again because Dijak delivered the way that I knew Dijak would deliver. And Josh Briggs, like I said, when he comes back from injury, hopefully, listen, the belt's his. I feel like all three of them really put on like a power of a match. But the one person to surprise me and coming over there was this guy. And that is, of course, Mr. Ivar from the Viking Raiders. His tag team partner is still injured. We did not see Valhalla. It was interesting to see him without everything, without the gimmick, without everything. And listen, this man is not to be slept on. Ever. He's been holding it down greatly on the main brand. However, without a tag team, there's nothing for him. I'm pretty sure after we saw the Raw after Mania and the Raw from last night, we already know where the IC Championship is going. Listen, I'm going to tell you about what I felt about what's going on with the United States Championship in a few minutes. But this program, this is the type of like who, when I asked in the beginning, the first episode of Watch What Happens NXT, and we looked at Obafemi raising that North American Championship belt, I asked who was going to put him down. Is that guy. It's him. It's this guy right here. This man. Let me zoom in so y'all get it. This guy. That man coming outside right now. Because in retrospect, and it's gonna be the type of thing that Krista said. Well, you don't want to ring, like, so you just don't want to ring, like you don't want the ring, you don't want peace, you want problems always. That's the type of match you're gonna have. So it's interesting to see. I want to see if any other big men are gonna step into the fold with that. It was a great segment to not leave Obafemi out of all the hype from Stand Deliver. That was great. I'm happy they did that. Because now I'm fully invested in seeing, like, listen, Ivar got the highest second jump space squat in the performance center over under Montez Ford. That's not something to take lightly, in my opinion. So we gonna that was just a quick setup to dive into that real quick. Another awesome thing that happens, like I said, Miss Jada Parker just doing her thing, doing her little dancey dance, like being herself. She went up against Brindley Reese. Of course, Brindley Reese is still being accompanied to the ring by Malik and Idris. I think that their segment, what they're trying to build, is really fun. I think Malik got a little crush on her. I think it's for the characters going. I'm not sure. Like, they've been so down and out. They kind of deserve that type of energy. I'm hoping that they, in some way, somehow, they need to become tag team champions. Like, I'm over it. Like, they deserve it. They work so hard on the brand. They always seem to come up a little bit short. But Jada Parker, of course, like I said, per usual, this like kind of held her own, showing her dominance, showing her force, showing her attitude, which is what she's good at doing. And it's a big spotlight on her that they did that. They did it with Kiana. I don't know if anybody realizes that. They're doing it with Fallon. They're doing it with Kalani Jordan. Not sure about Izzy Dane so much, if they're going to do that with her. They're doing it with Brindley. These are the girls that are going to compete for the North American Championship. Right off the top of my head, these are the girls going to compete for that new belt because they're new, they're flavorful. They're the ones that are probably going to need the attention a lot more. Those are your girls that are going to be in that side. Like, if they can't be women's champion yet, and I feel like even with Kiana James, it's her turn to be women's champion sooner than later. Hopefully sooner than later. Same thing with her and Fallon Henley. I feel like they deserve it. But Miss Parker's that girl that could definitely walk around with that North American Championship, just be as cocky as Obafemi. Why not? Like, why the hell not? Like, now it's not just one belt everybody's looking at, and you having these random matches. Now you're giving the girls something to compete for. If it's not for, the attitude, like I'm the best bitch on the brand, the belts prove that. So now you have them competing for that. I love that. But I mean, the internet loves them some Jada Parker, like the World Star, all that good stuff. And I'm interested to see how they're treating Brindley Reese as well. I like they're giving her more matches. She's definitely high octane, definitely somebody that's interested in her character. Even in these backstage segments, she keeps interrupting. She's definitely giving me. Somebody said she reminds me of Molly Holly. I was like, I don't know if I get that Molly Holly vibe from her. She's definitely making it her own. So yes, y'all, let's just get this out of the way. Y'all nasty. Y'all nasty. This is a wrestling, this is still family programming. Y'all gross. But yeah, I mean, listen, Sean don't miss. If you see these next gen people and you see these new recruits they got for the NIL, listen, you gotta be athletic and you gotta look good. I'm sorry. That's just the name of the game. It's all about the game and how you play it. Like, even the people that are in shape or aren't in shape, they still look good. Listen, I know some people that love them some Sheamus. Don't ask me why. Some people do. They just do. There's somebody's attracted to somebody. Shawn Michaels said, listen, I'm going to find somebody for everybody. Okay? I don't care how you look, as long as you could do a 4-step and do a tuck and learn how to land on your back properly, you can be a wrestler. Like, if we're going to dive into it, the comment that Triple H made on the Pat McAfee show, I can get what he's saying. There's a lot of people that turn down WWE because they can't deal with the schedule. There's a lot of people that don't make WWE because they can't get through a tryout. Cornell was on my show and talked about there have been football players, basketball players, athletic, advanced people, influencers, fitness, CrossFit, you name them, they've probably done it, and they get through a tryout and they cannot do it because and even I can remember, just to dive in, I know that the person that felt like that was a comment that was dig at them, I know that they probably felt like it was a dig, but you also have to realize the WWE could only accommodate as so much. A lot of promotions, if you want the free range of promotion, go to that free range of promotion. Even Marie one time in an interview even said, listen, even if you can perform, even if you can be the best wrestler, if you could have the best moveset, the travel alone will wipe you out. There have been times where even people as high as John Cena has said that he don't want a family because his schedule is busy as hell. Like, there's people that get into relationships late. We just had a hard launch of the one guy who literally went on a podcast and said he don't know if he want to even get married and have kids. He just hard launched his relationship. You just don't know. Like, this business, you have to plan accordingly and perform accordingly and put yourself accordingly. There's people that sacrifice everything. You got, for example, we're going to talk about his match and his follow-up, Ilya Dragunov, who literally left his family behind to come to America and be in the WWE and be on NXT and make a future for his family. People do that. If you can't do that, that's fine. Ain't no shame. But Triple H just said this ain't the place for you. That's here nor there. I don't know what the politic was. I don't know what Triple H knew about this person and why they said no. If you felt like it was a personal dig, I always say that when people feel like there's personal digs, even me, when somebody takes a dig and I take it personal, I reevaluate myself. Like, if somebody tells me I ain't doing enough episodes of Watch What Happens NXT, I be taking a look at that, and I don't take it personal like, oh, fuck them, they're a hater of the show. I be like, well, maybe, like, what am I not doing? Maybe I could do one more thing. Like, that type of evaluation is fine. I ain't here for the gift of gab. I ain't here for the jabs. I'm here for comments like this. Fakarsha said, speaking of WWE Next Gen, one of the people who signed today, yes, I believe he used to play for an Italian, I think he's Italian. He was on the show. I've only watched one episode, and there's so many backstories on that show. I am planning on doing something really cool with WWE Next Gen. Probably will end up doing a separate review episode, probably bring some guests who are also watching WWE Next Gen to talk about the episodes a little bit more. The show is really, really good. One of them just got signed today. Apparently there's more of them that are about to be signed, and they've been popping up here and there. They've been doing segments with the actual NXT roster. So some of them are definitely at the Performance Center, which is great, which means they're one step closer to being signed. NXT Next Generation is something to always watch. I said that before. And I also said that a lot of people that you see now, like I remember seeing Joe Gacy's episode of Next Generation. I remember seeing when Kalani Jordan was signed. A lot of people get signed from those tryouts and they go far. And so it's worth the watch. They also had a tryout in Philly. I'm fully aware they had tryouts in Philly. They had a lot of people from NXT help out. They had a lot of people attend the tryout to help. So it's going to be a tradition. It's a tradition that's going to happen. You're probably get a season 2 of Next Gen. Not the documentary, but just take advice like this. As if you want something that's you've never had before, you're going to do things you have never done. And that's true. Like, you got to take risks. Like, I would have never thought I'd be sitting here talking about NXT with all of you guys. Like, I hate talking too much, but it seems like the more and more I do it, if I had never taken this risk and did it more, I wouldn't have awesome people like you interacting with me in the chat, telling me how you feel, bringing this brand to fruition. For me this weekend to say proudly, like, yeah, I have a show called Watch What Happens NXT, and people were like, what is that? Like, there's no, like, you do a pre-show? I'm like, yeah, it's a pre-show, and people be invested with me. That stuff felt great. So imagine if I had never taken the risk and even started the show in the first place. That would have been on me. Not anybody else, not on those wrestling girls or anyone else that I have a channel with. It would have been on me. So just take that into consideration. It's all on you to do what you want to do. Speaking of, so two more things we're gonna dive in. We're gonna close it really quickly. NXT starts really, really soon. We got another 30 minutes to talk about. I do want to dive into Level Up just a little bit because they had a little bit of showing the new generation. Like I said, they're trying to push some people up. But again, also you had no quarter catch crew have a match, and it was interesting because as you can see right here, they're missing a name. It's very obvious. We don't know when Gulak's coming back. We don't know if he's coming back. The allegations that were made against him, I think, were pretty they're pretty severe, especially in the wake of everything that's going on with the company. So I don't know what they're doing with no quarter catch crew. I don't know if they're gonna add someone. I don't know if they're gonna get a new leader. I don't know if Charlie Dempsey's the new leader of the pack. But for them to take his name out of the entry without really addressing it, they even had a backstage segment. They were a part of backstage business too, and they didn't really address anything as far as his absence. They more talked about the fact that, and I was happy to see him show up at Bloodsport. Like that made me happy because that's his type of arena. Let's be very real about that for a second. That's his type of arena. Like, have him show up to everything. Have him show up to the blood sports and the undergrounds and the battlegrounds, all that stuff. But they didn't address what was going on with Drew Gulak. I'm not going to address it because I don't know anything. Like I said, I'm not a dirt sheet channel. If you wanted to read the dirt sheets, Google it. Wrestling Inc. knows everything. Okay, I don't know everything, so look them up. But they did have a tag team match. Two members of the No Quarter Catch crew. You have Brian Kemp and Miles Bourne go up against the family, which part of them is Mr. Luca Crusifino and Chatham Stacks. They won, which was something that I was happy to see. I loved watching this match. This was a good tag team match. Make Brian Kemp and Mount Osborne a tag team because they're good specialists. Make Luke Crucifino and Stacks a new tag team as well. This gimmick just eats me alive. Like you can't go wrong with this gimmick. You're a lawyer. Like if you were to ever come out by yourself, you have like the People's Court theme. But now that you're with the family, that makes more sense. I thought they would be more involved in the match with Ilya. They weren't. But I'm waiting to see if there's more that happens with that because look at them win. Like, and then you have Razzo, who I realized she wasn't wrestling that match. I didn't know she was recovering still from a torn Achilles. When you have an Achilles tear, you can't move that much yet. So her playing valet is really good. Like she's a good element. They need to just give me more backstage segments because I like them as a team. There's no way to put it. I like them as a team altogether. Give me more backstage segments and eating at the diner and all that stuff. And I'm glad Tony didn't want them to cheat with him because that would have kind of like, I don't want to say it would have messed up the grain a little bit, but I want to be introduced to them more. I need to be introduced to them as a duo more. And if you're going to make everybody like the family, I don't know if you're going to turn them face. I don't know if you're going to make them really, really heel soon. But if you're going to do that, you need to have them do more matches together. And that's just my synopsis of that. Speaking of, like I said, I want to touch on Level Up really quickly before I go into the two main things that I want to always follow up on. Level Up, you had, this was my match of the night for Level Up. If you don't watch, you actually had, you had Urshan Connor return, and he had a match with Tavion Heights. This match ate the house down. For those on Razzo, she actually posted on her Instagram she's 6 months recovered from it. This was before she got the new character, so she's not injured now. This was before when she got to WWE, I believe she tore it, and that's when she got her new character and everything. And her first match, one of her first matches back, was that match at the PLE. So disregard. I'm sorry to alarm y'all. She's not injured now. She's recovering from an injury still. But this match, like I said, y'all, it fed the families. Like it fed the people. It fed the families. It was really good to watch. Tavion Heights is somebody that I thought was beyond before Javon Evans. I don't know what they're doing with that. I don't know what they're doing with him. I don't know what they're waiting for. They shouldn't be waiting on much because he's also really, really talented in himself. Another match you had that was really good was, again, we're seeing more Eddie Thorpe on the Level Up side. He went up against Dion Lexington. I'm sorry, I had to get into this comment. So it's not. It's not supposed to give New York. It's supposed to give Italian. It's supposed to give Mob Boss New Jersey. That's what the S is supposed to give. It's supposed to give, like, I think a lot more people want her to sound like Gabagoo. Like, it's not. I hope they don't do that, because Lord, I hate that. Like if you're gonna give me free, if you're gonna give me that, bring back Nunzio. Like, bring back the full-blooded Italians. Like, bring them back. You feel me? Like, don't. Don't give me half, give me whole, you know what I mean? Like, have them come give advice to the Don. But they're not. She's supposed to be given like street street kid that grew up. That's why she talks like that. She's more given Bensonhurst. I'm not a New Yorker. I'm from Jersey. She actually gives me more South Jersey vibes. I don't know. See, that's the thing. They were supposed to be from Chicago, and then they did that whole, like, they were in a warehouse in New Jersey, like they were in the mob, because I know the warehouse they were at. They were supposed to be giving me like Chicago, and then they talked to the bosses up in Philly, and then they did that whole thing when they confused me, Dylan. I don't know. You got to give me more time to do research on it, because I have a strong Jersey accent, and people were like, how come she doesn't sound like it? I don't know, you guys. Give me some time. I got to figure it. I'll figure it out for you. I don't know, but all in all, to some people, it's working. Back to it's working for some people because people love her, and that's what it's supposed to do. You're supposed to like her. People like her. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna say? The people like her. She said she's from Chicago. She's from Chicago. They ported her from New Jersey. She's from New Jersey. We'll figure it out. We'll do more research and get back to you next week on it. Back to Mr. Eddie Thorpe again in this match on Level Up. He showed more of his aggressive side. Definitely put up a fight with Tavion. That was definitely another good match that happened. Tavion, sorry, not Tavion, that's the wrong person. Dion gave more aggression again, also in his first matchup. Definitely put more offset on it. Like, he was supposed to be taking off the glasses and being aggressive. Definitely saw more of that in this episode, in this match of Level Up. Another match that happened in Level Up that was interesting for me to watch was the young ladies becoming the team. You had Stevie Turner, who everybody's been dying to see Stevie Turner, and Blair Davenport kind of do their old school dance as used to in the UK, and they also had a tag team match. That was really good to watch. They went up against the team of Carly Bright and Kendall Ray, I believe her name is. Forgive me if that's wrong. Carly Bright it's her third match on NXT Level Up. With Kendall, this is her second match on Level Up, and they went up against two experienced girlies in Blair Davenport and Stevie Turner. Now, great offset from both Carly and Kendall. That kind of sounds like Kylie and Kendall. Ooh. Wait a minute. And they had matching gear too. Sean, I see what you did there. Make it happen. Give me a Jenner fix. Give me a tag team out of that. I wish they would bring back the NXT tag team belts. We're gonna talk about that in a future episode. Because I gotta speed through and get to what I really want to talk about. But great offset from both the ladies. Level Up seems to be shaping up to finally put people on the map, which I said I've been hoping that they would do, because there wasn't a dry episode in the house. There's the ladies in the ring, and there's the audience. Normally it's people filing in, but they finally had a full house again. That was really great to see on Level Up, but all in all, that match went to these two, and I hope they make this a thing, because I understand you don't want to always put the UK girlies together, but like, give Stevie Turner a chance. And stop giving her the Gigi Dolan treatment. Give her more of a chance. Like, I hope they run her another match again. She went up against Kaline Jordan and lost, so it was good to see her have a win this time. Maybe they had to dress in black to get it right. I don't know, but it was good to see her win this time around. Now, real quick, I want to talk about Some NXT new that is happening. Rikasha already spoke about one of the new people that got signed today. I'm going to be talking about a lot more signings going forward. Also, like I said, I'm going to be doing a review of WWE Next Gen because I am really invested in the show. It is a really good show, y'all. Like, if y'all have not tapped into it, please do. If you have the Roku channel, if you don't, download it. Do watch the show. It's great programming. It kind of gives a home to like Breaking Ground and Next Generation, all that stuff that they had before. So I'm excited to see them. I hope it's another show that has longevity and it's like the new Tough Enough, but it dives more into their personal story on like a documentary type level. So I'm excited to see them do more of that. I like that. Big E's involved, Ric Flair's involved, Matt Bloom, who is a trainer down at NXT with Norman in the gang, he's involved. John Cena's the executive producer. I can't wait to talk about it in a future episode of Watch What Happens NXT. That show's gonna, like I said, that's gonna feed the family too, because we need to look at the next generation. There's no point into it. We're about to have our draft in the next couple of weeks. Nothing that's happening next week, I believe, which is ironically on a very special day. You have NXT Spring Breakin' coming back. It is a 2-nighter. It will happen on the 23rd of April, and then the next night 2 will happen on the 30th. It will end spring break. It's perfect that I actually like spring break, and I questioned if they were going to bring it back because they normally jump to Battleground in the Great American Bash. I'm glad to see that they're having spring break, and it seems like they're going to keep doing the interval of 4TV PLE. There's not much news on Battleground, what's going on with that. I know that there's rumors of them moving it. I did not see Battleground on Ticketmaster anymore. I don't know what's going on with the seating. Apparently the rumor is that they're not selling that many seats. We don't know what's going on with that. I need to find out more news. I'll be able to put it on the Watch What Happens NXT Instagram once I find out everything's going on. But hopefully that rumor that they're moving it to Vegas would be really good because they need to keep that Vegas connection going because everybody wants WrestleMania to be in Vegas. So if they did that and they sold some tickets out the gate, and hopefully with their partnership with UFC gives them more arena space, I hope that happens as well. But when I find out, y'all will find out. Trust me. Another thing that I want to dive into is that NXT Spring Breakin' first night happens to be on my birthday, and I'm excited. Not so much excited about turning 35, but actually I'm excited about turning 35 because look at me, like I'm still a baddie at 35. That's here and there, but I am so excited. I will be having another watch party. I don't have sound effects, sorry. I will be having another watch party. Yes, we will be watching Spring Breakin' as a family. Might have the family coming on, might have new family coming on. Let's see what happens, Might have some special guests. Hopefully, when I get all this together, y'all gonna know. But I'm excited. Yes, Spring Breakin' is happening in 2 weeks. Hopefully, we find out what's going on with the North American Championship. Speaking of which, hopefully, we find out what's going on with this. So the change of hand was your new NXT Tag Team Champions are Nathan Frazier and Axiom. They have taken the belts off of Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker, and I want to talk about that for a little bit because a lot of people are questioning why didn't it happen at Stand and Deliver. I think for two main reasons is that they wanted to give they wanted Braun Breaker send off to be less bittersweet. He was drafted to SmackDown a couple of weeks ago, so it would have made sense for them to have that took that L and have the guys win. I think that there's more room for Axiom and Nathan Frazier to grow now because Nathan Frazier's only had Heritage Cup. Axiom is your first ever Heritage Cup winner. I think for them to finally have another belt, an actual belt under their notch is perfect. But it was bittersweet to see that the Wolf Dogs are no longer tag team champions. However, a lot of people were in my ear buzzing that while I was sitting there crying about the wolf dogs not being a thing, that this also happened. And I'm kind of excited it happened because I was like, this is also going to feed the families. You had one guy when he came out the gate, and when he came out with Scarlett, I was like, no freaking way are they adding these people into the fray also. I don't know if anybody else is excited as me. I was actually excited to see the Authority to Pay back in NXT. I was happy to see the whole fraction in there. I was happy to see Karrion Kross there, Scarlett there. I was happy to see them. I don't care what nobody say. Call your mama, yell at her about it. I was happy they are back in the tag team fray, because this type of energy, this is what I'm talking about. Let them roam free. Like, you can even if they were to have a match, it would be a great spring breaking match, right? Have them roam, like have everybody roam. Everybody don't have everything to do. And mind you, they were making jokes because they weren't at WrestleMania, but they showed up at NXT. It was bad because somebody was like, where'd they go? And they were like, they probably got released. I was like, y'all are mean, first of all. And so for me to see them, I was like, okay, they didn't throw them out the mud. Yes, thank God. I was happy. So happy to see this, because I want to see where this is going to go. This picture speaks volumes, because Nathan and Axiom had to take down one badass tag team, and now they might have to deal with taking down another badass tag team to establish some dominance. Are we going to see ATP win and take that belt to SmackDown? Are we going to see them stay in NXT for a while? That type of stuff. I want to know what's going on. What are we doing? I'm excited. You got my full attention. It said let him roam and and add Mike. Oh, that would be a good addition if they added him to the Final Testament. I would like to see that, because it would make a lot more sense. But also, why not have the biggest faction you can have on any brand by adding them? They're already the biggest, because they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Everybody's like 3 or 4 people, right? Why not? Make problems, not peace, is what I always say. Give the OC a chance. Do they need it? Not really. Do they need it? Again, you wanna feed the like again, this family's fed. Hello, no one's starving here. These matches feeding the babies. Like come on, like let's does the OC really feed families for me? No. Like this feed families. Again, this is feeding the families right here, feeding all the babies. Like does the OC really fit into that equation? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, does it feed the families? Does it feed the families? No, I can't think. And I hate to be mean like that, because I like the OC. I like Gallows and Anderson. But is it this though? Like, does look, this guy and this guy are about to have a match? Does it feed the families the way these two are gonna feed the families? Nah, we don't know. I can't like, hey baby. I was talking about matches that feed the families, and they're saying that the OC do, and I don't think they do. It's not to sound like I said they're veterans. They're very experienced. Like, they worked for me in New Japan, they worked for me in TNA, they worked for me everywhere else. They worked for me with AJ Styles. But again, feed the families. Let's see what happens. Let's see how they build them up. That's what I want. I want the community fed. You know what I mean? Like Javon Evans and Scripps fed the block with that match. They did. Like, you want the match has got to entertain. You want to be able to make sure you get to the concession stand at another PLE and get your hot dog or your pizza or your beer, and you run in time to see that match. You want to be fed, right? You want to drink. That's what the match is supposed to do. You don't want to get up in the middle of the match and go to the bathroom and get your slice of pizza. No. make sure you do it before you get to the match. And that's what I mean by you make sure the family fed. Shout out to Andre in the chat. I know shout out to Turnbuckle Talk is probably wrapping up right about now. Shout out to anybody who's coming from there. Support the family. But yeah, like, come on. Like, you know, he feeding the families. I don't care what nobody say. For personal reasons, he feeding the family. Another segment real quick before we die down. And you already know he feeding the families per usual. Highlight, know what I'm talking about. I have a new video. I have a new whoop that trick type dance. I was doing my little dance, y'all. Y'all couldn't convince me otherwise. He stole the show for me. Like, to see Trick Williams evolve the way he's evolved, and to hear that this happened that night, that go home show. You see Ilya Dragunov, like I said, is still your NXT men's champion. To see him finally walk up to Trick and say, listen, brother, I respect you, and with the fact that I respect you, I'm going to give you another title shot, and that title shot is going to occur at Spring Breaking. But here's the stitch: you lose, you have to not only, you're not going to get another title shot, you leave at NXT. Wow. While the brother's hot, we just going to kick him out. But also keep in mind that this guy was just having one of the best Raw debut matches with Shinsuke Nakamura, which, by the way, you need to watch that match with him and Shinsuke. I don't know why they let Shinsuke take that L, but they took that L, they gave it to him. And it was worth every second of it. Literally, like, this match that night, this match is gonna feed families for real. These two men, they have a mutual respect for each other, but Ilya's kind of back on that. Okay, like, it was cute that everybody's saying whoop that trick, but I'm about to whoop that trick next, because there's no way. You think you could take this belt off of me? Now I'm gonna give you a fair shot, no distractions. But of course, you have Carmelo Hayes being a hater, and saying that, listen, you think this win was just a one-off win? I want the belt, and I want my belt back. It was very well in plan. But you got us on us about Jada Parker though. Listen, I think he could listen. He could feed the families too. I told y'all that for personal reasons. He feeding the families. There's no shame in my game. There's no shame in a lot of you games, because I've been on some of your comment sections. I've seen some of your posts. I'm mild compared to a lot of you. Okay, back to business. So basically, yes, he basically told him that if he loses, he has to leave NXT, which I don't think is too far fetched, considering that the draft is happening the same week as Spring Breaking. There's a lot of room for him to be on the SmackDown brand. I think he can cut a rug on the SmackDown brand. Raw, to me, I'm a little iffy with Raw, because Raw has enough stable people to be excited about. I don't want him to get the Creed brother treatment, because a lot of people were high on the Creed brothers, and now the Creed brothers just seem like they're background players. I don't think him or Ilya deserve that at all. So if he were to win the NXT championship, of course I'm gonna wear my shirt, I'm gonna watch that happen. If he were to win, it would be interesting. If Ilya was to win and Trick were to leave, he's automatically going to the brand that is for the people, and that's SmackDown. SmackDown been for the people. Like, you've seen that Jade Cargill linking up with Bianca and Naomi feeding the babies. You've seen how they treated Tiffany Stratton. She's been put on the map. They're doing a great job storyline wise on SmackDown per usual. Raw is kind of like your is always your refresh show. I feel like it's not as exciting as it always used to be. But with Mama being gone, like I said too, it'd be interesting if they added Trick Williams to kind of balance out. I don't know. They have to figure out how to balance out, because there are people that are out on injury. We just gotta see what happens with Trick Williams, where he goes. I know he's gonna float well. I know that SmackDown reaction lives in people's heads rent free. It lives in people's heads rent free, y'all. So there's no shame in the game in seeing where he wants to go. Yes, I think he's gonna win. I hope he wins. I really hope he gets that chance He's somebody that he's definitely homegrown. Like I said about Jade Cargill being when she was in AEW, homegrown, meaning that they didn't have that, they had that time to learn and they took it. Whereas Best is, it was interesting to see him really mix up with Carmelo Hayes, because Carmelo Hayes is somebody who has at least 8 years skin in the game. This is somebody who used to be on the indie circuit, who used to tie ropes to get his licks in, to get his real learning. Like, it's gonna be interesting to see how they treat. And this spoke volumes to me on Saturday. For them to really have that build up and have that, and for Carmelo and him to have the same agility, they've obviously been studying each other. They've obviously learned each other. They actually did a really good job with each other. I just think that this match and the match that is going to happen tonight, which is a full-blown cage match, I wouldn't be surprised if Carmelo takes that. I wouldn't be surprised if then he goes on to win the WWE Championship, and I also wouldn't be surprised if they run that round 3, because this is something that I told people this wasn't done at Stand Deliver, and I'm glad I stuck to how I felt about that, because now we're about to get a cage match, which is coming up soon. Before we go, another thing I want to bring up is this. Again, the flow of the people coming back and forth from main roster, like, that's why I feel like this should not be a brand. I understand brands are good for the travel, that's fine, but if you could put the people you want, whose faces you want everywhere, on every single brand, some way, somehow, like have them pull a CM Punk sometimes, have them pull a Shinsuke here and there, have them pull an Natalia, like have them pull a Bianca whenever there's going to be a big title involved, like have them do more of that. I wouldn't mind the brand, but the fact that we have a brand draft and then you have people still moving from left to right, it don't make no sense to me. Like, you're not even, like, for example, you ununified the tag team championships, right? The WWE championship and the Universal undisputed Universal Championship are not two totally different belts. Not Raw and SmackDown no more. Roman Reigns killed that. There's no more unified belts. You separated them, so now you already gave R-Truth and the Miz, well, the Awesome Truth, their own tag team belts on SmackDown. You're probably gonna get Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, who, by the way, I was happy they won. I'm sorry. As somebody who's rooting for NXT, that could have gone better in that tag team match. They deserve to have those belts, because you got Austin. Sorry, he's gonna be the person that always wins. He's gonna be the person that wins the most gold. Then you have Grayson Waller, who also deserved a belt. That was the best thing. You give it to the new, and I like that they did that. I'm glad. I was like, listen, I could root for DIY all day, every day. I love me some Ciampa and Gargano. But if they had put them belts on them boys, I would have been mad. Because why are we giving it to people who already had their piece of gold? Give it to the future. And Grayson Waller, no matter how you look at them, they're arrogant, they're cocky, yes, but Grayson Waller and Austin Theory are who I hope in the future, once they squash all their beef and they stop and they not beefing no more, somewhere in the near future they end up on the same brand. I hope Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams become tag team champions one day, because I don't think their story's done. I think they're stuck with each other until one of them decides to leave WWE. I think they are a future tag champion. If they ever get their shit together and they stop being both heel and face against each other and they decide to say, listen, remember we used to be Trick Mellow Gang? I think they too will become champions. Like, exactly. Like the A-Town Down, like A-Town Down Under is going to be, they're going to give everybody a run for their money. Do I think they're going to be transitional? No, but look at who they have to go against. You're going to have them versus the Creed brothers one day. You're going to have them versus, you're going to have them versus a whole lot of other good tag teams. You're going to have them versus DIY. You're going to have them versus another probably makeshift tag team you want to give them. Like, even with Awesome Truth now has a group of tag teams that they can literally compete against. Even when the Final Testament's probably done with whatever they're doing at NXT, the A-Town Down Under could go against them. Montez and Dawkins, the Street Profits, are not done being the tag team. Them go against A-Town Down Under. Like, you have so many tag teams to run. It's not where it was stale. You only had a few and you only had one belt. Now you have a plethora. Let the plethora run through. That's my last note on that. Another good thing that I feel like happened at WrestleMania that was really good. There was, I'm trying to remember, besides A-Town Down finally winning, you had Sami Zayn take that reign off of Gunther, but now you're gonna have Gunther go after another belt, and hopefully he goes after the one that Damian Priest has in his hand. That's where my head is switching. That's what I hope happens, because like 666 day, a 660 something day reign. That's not something to unreward. He's going after the WWE Championship, nothing more, nothing less. You let Sami Zayn have this program with a new heel, Chad Gable. Have him go against some other people that need to come from the main roster. Have him defend against the Ilya Dragunov, since it's probably like, and I like what they did with that. I like that they let Roxanne Perez and Ilya Dragunov premiere. I was happy to see that. That made me smile. Give them the flowers that did. I mean, if you could have Jordan Grace from TNA do the Royal Rumble, have your NXT talent have matches on the show the next day. And they were both full circle matches. They were really good matches, in my opinion. Also, I love the send off between Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. They have really nice things to say about each other. Listen, the Wolf Dogs, like I said, they used to beat each other's ass in the ring. But I was happy to see Baron Corbin say so many good things about Braun Breaker. He's definitely the future of this business. He's definitely somebody that he another one. I don't have a picture of him because like I don't have a picture of him because if I get a picture of him, I'm gonna look at it too long. I can't do that no more. So Braun Breaker is definitely the future of this business. He's learned from his uncle, he's learned from his dad. He's definitely a workhorse. He's a big guy workhorse in my opinion. And that's the type of person you want on the SmackDown brand. He's gonna go far. And here's my thing. I'm a close out with saying this. And I might start an argument. I don't know if I'm gonna I don't care. I'm gonna start an argument. I'm gonna start a family household debate on this. I think Braun Breaker should be the one to take the US Championship off of Logan Paul. There, I said it. I'm not taking it back. I don't regret it. The scenario is set up to the point where run it at SummerSlam because you need that type of thing at SummerSlam. You need this type of program. It's in Cleveland. I'm evil. I understand. It's Logan Paul's hometown. Fuck all of that. Take that. Have that match. I feel like Braun Breaker is his perfect opponent. I feel like, listen, the man has beat everybody from freaking Kevin Owens to LA Knight to freaking Randy Orton. Like, he's beat everybody for a title that none of them really freaking want. Like, what is Randy Orton doing with the US Championship? Let's keep it a stack here. What is he doing with it? Like, what? What is he doing with that belt? Absolutely nothing. He's doing absolutely nothing with that belt. What does he need? No, and not even him. No, don't give it to Ricochet. Ricochet need to get his ass back into the Intercontinental Championship fold. No, absolutely not. I feel like it should be Braun freaking Breaker. I feel like it should be Baby Steiner. I don't care. Put it on a Steiner because you need him to evolve. If you want somebody that's going to put eyes like you, the US Championship needs to have the eyes kept on it. I think that it's perfect that literally Braun Breaker is that person, because when you look at him, when you look at his physique, when you look at the way he moves, people call him Baby Brock. You can call him whatever you want, Baby everything. He has enough attention on him, and if he does it as a heel, probably make it a little bit more interesting. Right now, he's just sparing people left and right. He's doing what he did in NXT when he was a fresh face. I think now that he's probably matured a little bit more, he understands everything that works on a little bit more. He's able to give him heel and make people hate him. He also went back to being funny in a tag team. I don't know where you're going to get Universal, and that's probably what they were waiting for before they put him on the main roster. Same thing they're waiting out of Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes is able to entertain you with Trick Williams. He's also able to make you boo him out of freaking the South with that heel turn. You got to learn how to universe. You got to learn how to be universal in both ways, and that's exactly what those boys have done. So if they get drafted, I'm not worried because they could do both. They could do both, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. The U.S. title. Why would you want Gunther to step backwards, y'all? Why does everybody want Braun Breaker to bring Gunther? Like no, like we've seen all this before. I don't care why everybody wants that. No, it needs to be Logan Paul. Braun Breaker, if they want Braun Breaker to be their next guy up, he needs that big of a celebrity. He needs Braun Breaker. He needs Logan Paul to talk about him, and he needs Logan Paul to talk about Carmelo Hayes the way he was talking about him during that tournament. If they would have run that back, I would be happy with the same thing with Carmelo Hayes. I feel like Carmelo Hayes' first dance should be the United States Championship, because there's nothing wrong with the U.S. Championship. Okay, for Logan Paul to have it, it's got legitimacy back. Even if you were to say, okay, fuck it, just give Braun Breaker the Intercontinental Championship. Yeah, give him that first too. Because two people like Carmelo Hayes, I feel like should go after the Intercontinental Championship 1000%, because he's had everything in NXT. He's gonna be a WWE champion one day. So is Braun Breaker. But you have to have them. Sometimes it's good to step outside the fold of, oh, the only titles that are good are IC and WWE. No, the United States Championship is great. It's better than the 24/7 Championship. No disrespect to Truth, but they actually care about that belt. Why not let it run again? I'm glad there's some people that agree with me. I'm gonna have to sleep on this, Nicholas, because I'm not sure about that. I don't know how I feel about that. But all in all, like I said, I'm a thick basada. That's my man. Braun Breaker should be the one to take that belt off of Logan Paul. I can see it happening. And if it's not him, I could see somebody that's also the sensation versus the sensations, whether it be Trick Williams or Ilya or Carmelo. One of them's going to take it off of him. It's not going to be anybody on the current roster that's not on NXT. I'm going to say it again. It's not going to be a Kevin Owens or a Tozawa or anything like that. It's going to be somebody from NXT that takes that belt off him, because the biggest thing Triple H is focusing right now is the future. And the only way you're going to focus on the future, you've given the flowers you need to give. Awesome Truth the Tag Team Championships, but you also did it with A-Town Down Under and their Tag Team Champions. Give the United States Championship, because you've given it to Sami Zayn, who's somebody who deserved it. Give the U.S. Championship to somebody fresh. Somebody who's going to grow with the brand. Somebody who's he's going to end up on Impulsive. Can you imagine Braun Breaker or Carmelo Hayes going on Impulsive, or Trick Williams going on Impulsive, and just Logan Paul giving them shit for thinking they're hot shit when he's really hot shit, and that turning into something? Again, y'all, trying to feed the families. Like, please, sir, I want some more. Like, that's all I meant with that. I'm so happy y'all tuned in with me. Shout out to the chat for keeping it up. I'm pretty sure I started a riot or a debate. Either one, I'm here for the best home. NXT is on right now. Before I go, I want to thank everybody, like I said, for tuning into this show. I'm sorry I missed y'all this week. But next week we're gonna do a watch party. We're gonna be watching together. We're gonna be having some reactions. I'm gonna probably be having some guests. CBA. We'll see what happens. Shout out to the ones that powered this episode. It's powered by those wrestling girls. Shout out to Queen PR and Chris B. Every week they're dropping new episodes. Tomorrow we have Fan Club. We're back. And then you have Sound Out Sessions. And then I'm going to act like I don't exist to nobody because it's my birthday weekend. And then I'm going to be back and I'm going to be watching on my birthday, watching Spring Breaking with all of yous. It's going to be a good time. And yes, I have a Cash App. Yes, please. just in time. I'm about to close out. He says, please, sir, I want some bees. Oh, Femi rocking. Wait, did it come out right? What part of the conversation did you walk into? Oh my God. I was saying that listen, that's my birthday wish. Matter of fact, I want that for my birthday. I want Braun Breaker to take that belt off of Logan Paul. That would be the best. Like, he got the best send off. They lost tag team belts. It is interesting that somebody said to me that they might be keeping the Wolf Dogs as a tag team, and it's good for Baron Corbin, because Baron Corbin, like, he got enough skin in the game too. So, like, he could do the tag team thing for a little bit, and he can go back and doing singles once, like, him and Braun Breaker are done. That has some longevity. So I don't know. I hope they give me a birthday wish, was somebody taking that belt that's new and fresh, and not somebody who's been there for 10 years, taking that U.S. title off of Logan Paul. Give it to somebody new. Give somebody on the NXT roster. Give it to somebody who's proven to you that they can hold the championship. Do that. That's what I think they should do. Can't wait fan club for Justin to say more outlandish things such as that when it comes on tomorrow. I will see you all guys tomorrow. I still haven't found the perfect video to close me out. So until then, we're just gonna talk about the development of the tag team that's been holding down the fort. This is my send off to them. I'm happy for Braun Breaker. I'm happy for Nathan Frazier actually, but like I said, to Wolf Dogs, I bought a shirt. I bought an Obot Femi shirt because I'm proud of the tag team. So let that conversation close us out. I will see you guys next week. Salute to everybody in the chat for sticking around. But yeah, I will see all of you next time. And yes, my Cash App is open for my birthday. Okay, that's enough plug for me getting money on my birthday. Bye, you guys.
How do we feel about Chase UP?
I was gonna ask you that because I was really getting into them at one point. And then I don't know, it just felt like they kind of lost some of their steam a little bit, but I've been slowly getting back on Chase U. Team Chase U.
So here's the thing. I felt like the Chase U with him funneling money did what it was supposed to do. Because the whole storyline was you're supposed to lose morale because Chase U was built on honesty and Chase U ass whoopings. And when this whole thing kind of started falling well together, a lot of people weren't understanding the story. But then, you know, them trying to save the school and him trying to roll dice with Out the Mud was a great introduction to Out the Mud and putting the family back on the map because that's what it was essentially supposed to do. I think that they did a great job using Chase U to do that. But again, a lot of people were very excited about Chase U. And then it was already tied into a storyline with Thea, who's like their pocket rocket, literally trying to become a
pocket rocket. I love that.
And she was trying to become a member of the Bad Girls Club. Like, girl, no, what are you doing? Like, you like you the baby. You supposed to have this never give up attitude. But I think that's what happened. And now a lot of people are starting to get it because now they got a new member, which is Riley. And then on top of that, the whole JC kind of saving with them calendars. Yo, them calendars sold out 3 times. I don't know how. I was trying to do a giveaway. They were like, she put it back, it's back on stock. Couldn't get one back on stock.
That's shocking.
So y'all ain't getting no free calendars out of me yet until they do another calendar. I don't